Hello viewers, welcome again to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to discuss about uniform circular motion. So before we begin, let us first start by understanding what uniform circular motion is. By definition, uniform circular motion is just a motion around a circle. This is like a movement of an object around a circle, so it needs to follow a circular path. Let us say, for example, you have this object here. This object is supposed to move in this circular path. The radius of extension of this circular path is this distance here from this point here to this point here. So let us label this part as O and this part here as A. So distance from O to A is the radius of this circle, which is the path followed by this object. So as it is moving in this circular path, it moves from this point to this point here. Let us call this point as A, this point here as B. Now the distance covered from A to B, let us call it as S. Down here we have this angle here. This angle, let us call it as theta. So as this object moves from this point to this point, this angle also increases from this point to this point. So this angle is referred to as the theta. So all these variables that I've just mentioned are variables that normally occur when a body moves in a circular path. So from point 0 to point A, let us call it R, because this is the radius of the circle. From point A to point B, we call it S. This is the displacement of this object from this point to this point. And theta here is the angle subtended by this object here. So let us start by discussing about this theta here. So this theta is actually the angle subtended by this object at the center of the circle in terms of radians and not degrees. So you have a difference between radians and degrees. So this is the formula of finding this theta here. You need to take the arc length, you divide it by radius. The arc length that we're talking about is actually the distance from A to B. So we can represent it here. So A to B. So the radius that we're talking about here is the distance from O to A. So we can represent it here. So in simple terms, we can represent this formula as theta is equal to S divided by R, because this S is this distance and this R is the radius of this circle. So this is the first equation that you need to take note of, whereby the angular displacement is equal to S divided by R. Now, what do you think will be the result if your radius is equal to your arc length? Now, in this situation, then your answer will be 1. So if you're asked to define a radian, then you're supposed to say that a radian is an angle subtended at the center of a circle by an arc length equal to the radius of the circle. So if this body moves around this circle, then it will have completed the whole circumference of the circle. So this means that at the distance, this S will be represented in terms of the circumference of the circle, because basically it's not moving from this point to this point, but from this point round back to this point. So that is the circumference. So if you want to represent it in a mathematical form, then you can write it like this. Theta will be equal to, now instead of putting this S, you're supposed to put the circumference, which is the circumference divided by the radius here. So the circumference of this circle is given by 2 pi r. So theta is given by 2 pi r divided by r here. So if you remove these two r's like this, you're supposed to get a value which is theta is equal to 2 pi. So this is the angle in radian when this object moves round this circular path. So in simple terms, this one represents 360 degrees. So in simple terms, this 2 pi radian is equal to 360 degrees. Now I'd like us to place this formula here so that we can clear the table. So let us look at angular velocity. Now when you talk about velocity, in simple terms, you know that velocity is the rate of change of displacement against time. But now, because here we're talking about this angular velocity, then we're not talking about the displacement itself, but the angular displacement. So the angular displacement is this distance from this point to this point, the angle subtended by this distance. So with time, it's supposed to change in terms of value. And this displacement is what is referred to as the angular displacement. So the angular velocity is given by the change in angular displacement against time. So this omega like this represents the angular velocity. So in simple terms, the angular velocity, this one, is given by the change in angular displacement. I remember we had represented angular displacement like this. So you're supposed to represent it like this against the change in time. So you represent it t. So you can put a triangle to represent the change. Now previously, we had said that the angular displacement is given by S divided by r, right? So let us rewrite that equation, whereby we say the angular displacement is given by the displacement itself against, but now here we're looking at the change in angular displacement itself. So this is the angular displacement, meaning the change in angular displacement itself will be each of these divided by the time, because we are looking at the angular velocity and it is the change in angular displacement against time. This is the angular displacement. So we need to divide both sides by time so that we can find the angular velocity. If we divide both sides by t, it would be like change in angular displacement against the change in time is given by the change in the displacement divided by the change in time multiplied by r. So this is the representation of the angular velocity here. We know that v is equal to the change in s against the change in t, because this is displacement and this is time. And this one can be represented with a v. Now, instead of putting the change in s against the change in t, we can just represent it with a v. So the change in s, which is the displacement, divided by change in t will be equal to, so this change in s against the change in t will be velocity, so it will be v divided by r. So this one is angular velocity because we had defined angular velocity as the rate of change of angular displacement. So this is the rate of change of angular displacement against the rate of change of time. And we had said that angular velocity is represented with an omega. So this omega is equal to v divided by r. And this is our second equation. Now lastly, I want us to talk about period. So by definition, we know that period is the time taken to complete one oscillation. So in a simple representation, a period is the time taken for this object here to move a complete distance like this, from this point and then back to the same point. So that time taken for this object to move complete one oscillation is referred to as the period. Now, when it comes to here, I want us to use this formula. We know that velocity is given by displacement divided by time. But now, according to uniform circular motion, what is our speed? So let us use this formula here, which we had extracted in the previous extraction. So we had said that the angular velocity, which is omega, is given by v divided by r. So this v will be equal to what? So this v will be equal to omega multiplied by r. So this is the formula of speed. So for you to complete one oscillation is like going a circumference of this, right? So let us put this time as the subject formula because we want to find the period. So period is in terms of time. So what is time? So in this formula, time will be equal to displacement divided by velocity. Now what is this displacement? Displacement, we are talking about one complete oscillation, one complete circumference. And the formula for finding circumference like this is 2 pi r. So we'll write it as 2 pi r, and the velocity will represent it using this formula here. So it will be divided by omega r because this is the representation of velocity. So from this formula, we can substitute this r, this r. We'll be remaining with time is equal to 2 pi divided by omega. Now take note that this time represents period because this is the time taken to complete one oscillation, because the distance we took is the circumference of this circle, and the circumference of this circle is the distance from this point to this point. So that is one complete oscillation. We took the velocity from this formula of angular velocity, and substituting the formula, we have found that 2 pi over omega is the period. So you can rewrite this formula, period, which is t, is equal to 2 pi divided by omega. So you can add this formula to our list. Now, we all know that frequency is equal to 1 all over t, whereby this is frequency and this is period. So meaning that period, which is t, is given by 1 divided by f. I think we had extracted the formula for period, and we said that period is equal to 2 pi divided by omega. But now this omega, the formula for finding omega is here, up here. So you can represent this omega and resubstitute it with this. So you can write it as t is equal to 2 pi. Then we need to divide it with this formula here for omega, which is v divided by r. So if we do this, it will be 2 pi multiplied by r divided by v. And the final formula here, it will be 2 pi r divided by v, which is equal to the period. So you can rewrite this formula as period is equal to 2 pi r divided by v. So we can add this formula to our list here. Now for us to introduce frequency, we will need to use this formula here, whereby we've said that t, which is the period, is equal to 2 pi divided by omega. Now we need to use this as the subject formula. This omega is the angular velocity. So we will say that angular velocity is given by 2 pi divided by the period itself, right? Now, what is period? You know that period, which is t, is given by 1 divided by f. So this formula here, it is this one that we had written here. So we can substitute this t with this t. So it will be omega is given by 2 pi divided by 1 all over f. So if we calculate this, it will be 2 pi then multiplied by f. And your final equation will be omega is given by 2 pi f. So this is another equation that you need to take note of. So you can add it to the list of our formulas here. So this is the simplest way of extracting these 5 equations of uniform circular motion. So mastering these equations, it will be very easy for you to answer all questions related to uniform circular motion. You just apply these formulas and you'll be finding your answer. So click the link below to see how we normally derive the equations for centripetal force. So that is all for today. Until the next video, goodbye for now.